All right, welcome in here on this Wednesday, February the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to you and yours as we've got 40 games in college basketball here tonight on the slate. A little something for everybody here. Some mid-majors, obviously some of the big boys going at it head-to-head tonight. A lot of different angles to talk about here, and we've got three of the best to do it with at WagerTalk.com as we welcome in double R. 1L. That would be Steve Merrill, ready to roll, as is Mr. Bryan Leonard. Rocked and ready to go, Rob Vino. And if before you ask in the chat room, let me just say, this was not planned. This isn't some sort of orange Valentine's Day thing. This isn't that. No, this was not planned. It just worked out this way. Gentlemen, welcome in on this Wednesday. Maybe both of you, well, we can do a set change too here shortly as well and get a nice orange background just because that appears to be the way to go here, Merrill. Steve, let's start with you here, man. We want to get into some of these games. You're going to start in the Big Ten for us, and we'll get to the whole one day for 2 free days with our Valentine's Day special to take advantage of. But talk to us about Iowa. Maryland, the number seems to be stagnant, but the total seems to be rising today. What gives here in this Big Ten matchup?
Yeah, I didn't forget it was Valentine's Day, but I forgot when I put my blue shirt on. So luckily I have a red jacket here. So if needed, I can throw this on. But I did bring gifts for the two orange reds, whatever they are. And the 50-year balloons are kind of how I'm feeling as a 50-year. But they're still here, Joe Ranieri.
How do you still have those?
I forgot I had them. No, all honesty, I saw the red clip, and I was like, "Where'd the balloons go?" They're back in the corner here somewhere. So,
yeah. Welcome to my life.
Never know when you have to make a quick getaway.
Welcome to my life.
Yeah. But anyway, what are we talking? Big Ten basketball. Maryland rose red. This looks like a Maryland jacket. I could go up there and watch the game tonight. Tickets for as low as $3. That's I guess. Yeah, I saw that earlier. I'm a little surprised by that, but it should be. I think it'll be a good crowd, and I would think Maryland will have a little bit of a home court edge here. This is a team that's 10-3 straight up at home this year, just 3-8 away, so they have been better at home. And meanwhile, you look at the Iowa Hawkeyes; they're 10-3 at home, also just 4-7 away. And these are two teams at times are not great defensively, but Maryland has been the better defensive team overall. In fact, on the season, allowing less than 41% shooting, Iowa 45%, but they are an extremely high-scoring team. You referenced that total. Iowa games alone are averaging over 162 points this season. They've gone over 8 of the 13 conference games. Those are averaging almost 159.5. Maryland's going to slow things down here, though, and I do think home teams normally dictate the tempo a little bit better as far as pace goes. So I lean Maryland in this game for that reason. And I also think if it's Maryland, it probably favors the under, whereas Iowa and the over are somewhat correlated. By the way, I use this as my free play today at WagerTalk.com. 2 NBA games I like a lot. Nothing was strong enough in college hoops, but this is my top play for free, and that's Maryland minus the 5 here. Another reason is I'd like to look at the earlier matchups, of course, when teams play for a second time, and we look at the box score from back on a couple weeks ago, January 24th, and Maryland went into Iowa as a 5-point dog in that game and won outright 69-67. They outshot them also 47 to 42% on the road, which I think is a real good sign that defensive edge is real. Turnovers are pretty even. They got to the free throw line 2 times more on the road as well. So Maryland looks like the better team, the much better defensive team. And even though there's not a quote-unquote revenge motive, I think the first meeting shows they are the better team. I like Maryland here minus the 5. That's on Big Ten Network tonight at 8:30 Eastern.
All right, going with the home team in the Big Ten. Shocker there. That's been a pretty profitable angle all season long. We do have some ACC. Oh, now I understand the orange, Brian. Now I get it. ACC, who better to break down Miami at Clemson? Get ready. 2 teams sporting the orange here, so he's not giving you any clue as to who it is, or maybe he is giving you clues to who he is he's picking in this one, because I don't think you can go wrong either way, Bryan Leonard. Clemson, Miami, what are you doing tonight?
I think Robbie and I should have gotten together and made some comments about the Syracuse Orangemen today.
Yeah.
That would have probably worked out better. But I'm going to take a look at this Miami-Clemson game. And the Hurricanes are 15-9 on the season, 6-7 in ACC action. They beat the Tigers 95-82 at home in early January. I put Miami at 11-2 on the season, and it's been a struggle since that point. Effective field goal numbers have been solid, 54.3 offensively, 49.5 defensively. Miami's just 2-5 straight up on true road games, though, and they just lost a hard-fought home contest to North Carolina, 75-72. Clemson 16-7 on the year, including 6-6 in conference play, just a half a game better than the Hurricane. All of the major success this season has come in non-conference action. Clemson was really good in non-conference action. They have a very similar effective field goal percentage, 53.9 offensively, 48.6 defensively. Tigers have been terrific on the road this year, but they're just 2-3 at home in the ACC. Off back-to-back road wins over North Carolina and Syracuse, this looks to be a letdown spot for Clemson, despite playing with revenge. The road win over North Carolina was very impressive, and they survived Syracuse in what you could be considered a letdown spot. But I think this is where it comes back to hurt Clemson here. I've got these teams closer to even than what this line shows. The numbers for the effective field goal percentages show them almost exactly the same. Clemson hasn't been good at home. Miami hasn't been good on the road, but this line is a little bit too high for me. I'm going to take Miami, Florida in this one to keep it closer. As I said, these two teams grade out to, for myself, much closer than what this line is telling you. So we'll take the points here.
If I'm not mistaken, too, Brian, I think history on Miami's side here, they've done pretty well over the years against Clemson. So certainly a comfort level there tonight, getting all those points. I'm kind of with you here. And Rob Vino in the house stepping up. I do not see any orange in these two teams. So sorry, I can't pawn off your orange shirt with your bosom buddy here. But we can talk South Carolina and Auburn, another game that a lot of people are going to be very interested to see what this South Carolina team is made of. Are they as good, Vino, as everyone seems to think they are now?
Joe, look harder, Joe. You don't see any orange in Auburn? Come
Oh,
on, man.
damn, that's right.
Come on, Joe. Look a little harder, please.
Only Vino would see that.
I didn't even think of it until you started rattling off Miami and Clemson. I said, oh, wow, how about Auburn? But I'm not going to play Auburn here. I took the other side. And you're taking a shot here with a underdog that's on a real nice streak against a home team that's been a home court bully all season long. Gamecocks conference schedule, it's been a little light. It's hard to defend the teams that they've played in SEC competition. 8 of the 11 games played by South Carolina, and they built their record upon this, have been against the bottom half of the SEC. 2 of the 5 road games they've had, though, were against Alabama and Tennessee. 2 drastically different results, right? They go to Alabama, they get smashed 74-47. They come back, play Tennessee in Knoxville, and come out of there as a 14-point underdog with a straight-up win. Auburn's schedule, it's been a little bit better, but they've still played 6 of their 11 against bottom-tier teams, but the home dominance for them. I think I talked about this when Auburn played Alabama last week. Their home dominance has been crazy. They've been winning games by 20.8 points per game, all by 11 plus in this SEC competition. So, you have to look for, at this point in time, Joe, we have enough of a sample size to start looking for team comparisons, comparable matchups. And I think that's why I land on South Carolina here, because of all the Auburn wins at home, and there's been 5 of them I just mentioned by almost 21 a game, only one has come against a formidable defense. It's in the category of South Carolina's, and that was Texas A&M. They beat them 66-55. So let's go through a couple of things here. Obviously, when you look at the difference in results that South Carolina produced against Alabama and Tennessee, which one of those 2 teams is more like Auburn? And the answer is really neither. Auburn's somewhere in between both, right? Alabama's so fast-paced, breakneck. They shoot threes. Tennessee's not like that. They're a little better defensively, but they can still score. I think Tennessee's probably a little more comparable to South Carolina than is Alabama. Auburn, has struggled with this type of team. If you put them in this profile against slow tempo, defensive, strong rebounding teams, it's only happened twice to the Auburn Tigers this year, but the results weren't great. Like I say, they beat Texas A&M 66-55. It was a home tussle. It's the lowest margin of victory they've had at home all season long. And then they went out on the road and played Mississippi State and lost straight up as a 3-point favorite, 64-58. Those two games, they lost the rebounding edge by 10 and 15. Those two games were against the 9th and 12th slowest tempo teams in the SEC. And those two teams ranked 3rd and 5th in defensive efficiency inside SEC play. South Carolina's numbers are better, or at least equal to, than all of those. And they shoot the ball a little bit better than both those teams. Texas A&M can't throw it in the ocean, and Mississippi State is not a good shooting team either. So you can see here a little bit of an edge. Auburn's been lights out at home, talked about their numbers, but South Carolina's been lights out on the road. 6-1 ATS on the road, 8-3 ATS in conference, 9-1 ATS as an underdog. I mean, I don't know how you can beat those numbers. It's an important game in the standings for both. South Carolina tied for first, 9-2. The other side, second place, 8-3. Important game. You'd expect full focus out of both. And I would say this: South Carolina is likely going to have to withstand the first half out of the home team, because the home team in the first half has been incredible so far this year. 12-0 straight up, 10-2 ATS, 5-0 in SEC play, 4-1 ATS. And we remember most recently they blew Alabama right out of the water in the first half. However, these matchups, the opponent comp results, and a couple of other things here just indicate that the number's too big. Like I said earlier, they beat Texas A&M. Auburn did by 11, 66-55. That same exact result would get you a cover here. I'm hoping it's not one of those public dogs that ends up getting trashed, by 20 points, but I don't think it is. I think South Carolina is good enough to be able to withstand the early onslaught and maybe keep the game at a slow enough pace and use their advantages to get within 11.5. That's the way I played it. South Carolina plus 11.5.
All right, feels like a lot of points. We're going to learn a little something about South Carolina here tonight, and we've got 3 best bets coming up on this 40-game slate here tonight. Do want to remind you, there is absolutely no gift that says I love you like a 3-day all-access pass for the price of one. I can tell you right now, if you want to forever be in that life, if that's somebody special, you just go ahead and pick your favorite handicapper and get 3 days of all access for the price of one, guys. It is a sweetheart of a deal, available till midnight here tonight. That's right. 2 additional days of all access when you buy one. It's a great opportunity as we are heading into a huge weekend once again, especially in college basketball. So hop on board, take advantage of that as we get ready for some best bets. And we'll start it with Double R. 1L, Steve Merrill. I don't know what to do with this game, Merrill. It's kind of split down the middle from people I have talked to. I'm hoping you can give us some clarity with Seton Hall taking on Xavier here tonight.
Yeah, we're going to look at a free play in college hoops tonight. It goes at 7 Eastern. You see, I like Seton Hall. I'm going to give you the reasons why in just a moment. Quick reminder, though, the NBA All-Star break starts after tomorrow on Thursday. Limited card tomorrow, but it's a huge card tonight on Wednesday, and I am taking advantage for my clients. I've got 2 strong NBA best bets, and I made a 2-for-1 special. Individually, they're each 25, or get both for just 29. That's getting the second play for just $4 more. Of course, the best deal, though, is the buy one, get one special right now. College and pro hoops, a full 30 days of both. You don't have to decide which one you want, because you buy one, you get the other for free. And you might want to consider that, as I'm ranked number 1 in college and pro basketball sides combined. Now 77-53 since the start of the season in October. Yes, we cashed our 5%, that rare 5% best bet last night. More importantly, though, I cashed both 4% best bets on Monday. So 3-0 start this week, and I've got 2 more strong 4% best bets in the NBA going tonight on Wednesday. Check it out, Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com. Bonus free plays every day on my page as well. Here's a free play for the show, though, and that does go at 7 Eastern, an early game, and it's a huge revenge spot for Seton Hall. And I talk about this a lot here in February. Revenge is overused. Basically, it's a second meeting, but there's some revenge spots that are better than others. And when you get blown out in the first one, it catches your attention, and it works for a couple reasons. First of all, the team that got blown out is extra motivated, and the team that did the blowing out sometimes is a little complacent. And I think that'll be the case here. Seton Hall lost by 20 at Xavier a couple months ago back on December 23rd. They were only a 4-point dog in that game and only down 7 at the half, but the second half got away from them. And this is often the case, extreme shooting from 3-point range for each squad. Xavier, 10 for 20, 50%. Seton Hall, 2 for 15, 13%. That means Xavier was plus 24 points from 3-point range, yet they only won by 20. Seton Hall got outscored by only 2 points from the field otherwise, and they actually had a 6-point edge from the free throw line. And Xavier only got to the line 5 times at home. That's not a good indicator. That's not a good sign. And I think Seton Hall gets the win here, and they cover the short number. They were only a 4-point dog a couple months ago, got blown out. Now they're just a 2.5-point home favorite. I like Seton Hall. This line's actually open from 1. It's gone up to 2.5. So I also think the early sharp money was on Seton Hall, which I agree with. So take a look at the Pirates minus the 2.5 at 7 Eastern tonight on CBS Sports Network. And by the way, I did not subject the viewers to DePaul, UConn. I know Brian Leonard loves fading DePaul. They are a 24.5-point dog. That is the CBS Sports Network 9 o'clock Eastern game. And the reason I bring that up is because I just did a solo video, which you can watch here, and my recommendation on that game here on WagerTalk TV for free. So hit subscribe and hit that bell for instant alerts when all these videos go live every day.
Easy enough to do there. But Brian Leonard, well, he's not going to subject you to DePaul, but he is going to subject you to Queens, North Carolina versus North Florida here, a game we have all been waiting on here. Actually, it's a pretty intriguing game, getting some money here. So what are we thinking here with North Florida against Queens Royal tonight?
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. And either one of these gentlemen, either who's on the board, we're looking to make money. And I believe there's a good money making opportunity here. North Florida at Queens. The Ospreys are 13-13 on the season, 6-5 in the Atlantic Sun Conference. This is a good shooting team with a 53.5 offensive effective field goal percentage, but they give it all back on the other end of the court at 53.4% defensive effective field goal percentage. Only twice in league action have they allowed less than 74 points. In fact, the last 5 outings, they permitted 79, 79, 95, 76, and 89 points. This is a team that is not very good defensively, especially on the road. Queens lost to North Florida, 91-75 about 3 weeks ago, so they do have that advantage here. But that was only one of 2 conference losses by more than 6 points. This Queens team is the Royals are 10-16 on the season, 4-7 in conference action, but they've been in virtually every game they played all year long. This is a team that plays much better at home than on the road. They're 9-2 straight up in this building, with only 1 loss here in Atlantic Sun play. Off back-to-back road losses, coupled with the revenge, we like the Royals here to win this one by a margin.
Ooh, liking the Royals to get it done here, laying the 3, huh? Just when you tuned in, you were like, you know what? Hope I get a little North Florida breakdown here, and you got it. That's exactly. Plus, you got the Orange Twins here, who are also, well, it's interesting. You know, you gave us one of the games here tonight there with South Carolina and Auburn that a lot of people are going to be very interested in. I'm very interested in this next game you're going to break down for the best bet, because it feels like we've got 2 teams going in different directions, but the number felt light. So how are you approaching Greensboro taking on Citadel here tonight?
Yeah, I tell you what, in fact, when I sent the play in, I changed it. I thought about changing it again because I like this game in multiple ways, but where I landed was NC Greensboro first half here, -3. They come off of a real disappointing homestand. The last, I think it was a Thursday, Saturday, right, that they played the top 2 teams in the SoCon. Of course, they were one of them until they dropped both games, but they played the elites, Sanford and Chattanooga. Thursday, Saturday, they lost by 9. They lost by 28 on Saturday, and what ended up being their worst defensive performance of the SoCon season. 89 points allowed, 59.3 from the field, 55.6% from 3. Just couldn't get anything right defensively. Chattanooga opened it up and then just increased margin as the game went on. So it was disappointing for them to have both of those teams at home and not be able to beat either one of them. And in fact, in the Sanford game, they led pretty sizably at halftime. and then Sanford just took over in the second half. So for Greensboro, now it's not all gloom and doom. They sit third place in the SoCon at 8-4, just one game ahead now, though, of three teams right behind them at 7-5. So wins are a must at this point in time. And believe it or not, guys, after they play this game tonight, there's only 5 games left in the regular season in the SoCon. I mean, a couple of weeks from now, we're going to be talking about the SoCon tourney. So these games wind up being pretty important at this point in time. This last back end of their schedule is stacked with teams in the bottom tier of the Southern Conference. And so it's good time to stack some wins. They could even climb back up the standings if they beat these bad teams, starting with Citadel tonight. Citadel, meanwhile, they're up a 3-game, I don't want to call it road trip, but they played 3 consecutive road games, lost all 3, covered, I think, a couple of them, but they're 1-11 in conference play, like you mentioned, Joe. One team atop of the standings, one team rock bottom in the standings. They've played once already, though. So let's take a look at first time around. It was kind of a back and forth game. Greensboro ends up winning 73-67. It was a non-cover. They laid 11, only won by 6. Much earlier in the season, that game was. Each team shot it really well from three-point land, 40% each, which is characteristic for Greensboro, but really uncharacteristic for Citadel. So maybe if a little bit of that changes here in this one, you can get Greensboro a little bit of a margin here as far as lead is concerned. They led that game, important here, that they led that game 38-29 at halftime. Greensboro did. So 9-point lead. If you get that same exact result where Citadel shoots better or over their head from threes, and they're still trailing by 9, only laying 3 here in the first half. So that's 6-point cover, pretty easy. And you've got wiggle room, right? There's 5 points worth of wiggle room for even something else to happen, and you still get a cover. So I think UNC Greensboro, which figures to be motivated from the opening tip, using that result plus 9 and now motivated here first half, I think you're probably pretty safe here laying 3. They are the number 11 3-point shooting team in the country. NC Greensboro. Citadel is 202nd in defending the 3. So again, if I go back to that matchup, I think the NC Greensboro side takes a little bit more advantage than they did the first time around. It's kind of magnified that those 3-point numbers by the fact that Greensboro gets over 40% of their points from beyond the arc. And the Citadel side, it's unbelievable, but the Citadel side allows the 53rd highest number of points from beyond the 3-point arc. So you got a team that scores them all from 3, a team that gives them all up from 3. I think you're probably in pretty good shape where that's concerned. Citadel in the first half, because that's the way we're playing this game, they're down in the 300s as far as first half scoring average is concerned. They only average 30.9 points per game. Greensboro, up in the top 70, they're number 66. They average 36.7, almost 37 a game in the first half. So they do come out quick. They average 35.2 on the road as well. Last note here that's pretty interesting to me. North Carolina Greensboro comes off a 4-game string where they played the 4 fastest tempo teams in this league. And now they get a team that's the second slowest. The 4 fastest teams kind of forced Greensboro's defense. The defensive ranking shrunk a little bit for them over those last 4 games against those fast teams. But they were really highly ranked up until then. And I think playing a slow down team again allows their half-court defense to get back to what they were doing well. Citadel doesn't really threaten you much either way, 2-point or 3-point shooting team. The only thing about Citadel is they're kind of sticky. In 12 SoCon games, they've lost 8 of them by more than 5.5, which is the full game number here. But you look at some of those other results, they're always close, right? Lose by 7, lose by 8, lose by whatever. They don't get necessarily blown out full game. And that's one of the reasons why I laid off full game and went first half. I think there's a sense of urgency. And even more than likely, there's a sense of redemption with UNC Greensboro tonight against a lesser foe to go ahead from the opening tip and be solid. They were the first time. I'm counting on them to be that way the second time around. I'll take UNC Greensboro -3, first half over Citadel.
All right, getting it done. First half, Citadel, UNC Greensboro, and that will do it here, guys, except we do have a Gold Sheet play of the day, and they are going to look at Chicago State getting 11. What? Yes, 11 against Eastern Kentucky here in a matchup of a couple of very interesting teams. And if you have not already checked out goldsheet.com, guys, great write-ups they've got going on here. I mean, full write-ups as far as the big matchups, the Chicago States of the world here. If you're looking for up-to-date information, analytics, angles, goldsheet.com is definitely the way to go. And to recap it one more time, we got ourselves UNCG. That would be North Carolina, Greensboro. First half -3 for Rob Vino. Brian Leonard going Queens. North Carolina -3, getting it done here tonight against North Florida. Merrill, double R1L, Seton Hall, lay it the 2.5 against Xavier. And our friends at the Gold Sheet say take those 11 points with Chicago State. And that'll do it. Take advantage. Offer ends at midnight, guys. The sweet art of a deal. Get a 3-day all-access pass, essentially, for the price of 1 day. That's right. A 1-day all-access pass will get you 3 on any of your favorite handicappers, including Brian Leonard, Rob Vino, or Steve Merrill. Hop on board. Going to be an absolutely huge next couple of days in college hoops alone. Great opportunity for you to partner up. And then, of course, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe button, and make plans to come back and join us again tomorrow. Plenty more college hoops to discuss, and we will be here. Until then, best of luck with all your plays. We'll talk to you again soon.